things that my wife and I had talked about health-wise. We've got two little ones. We wanted to be around for as long as we can. So I embarked on this. And this is one of the things that we picked up. It's an HCG diet. And HCG, we're going to talk about what it is and why it works and why I think that I need to spread some words about this. Dr. A.T.W. Simons is the guy that came up with it. He was an OBGYN out in Rome, and he published a paper back in 1954. And he seemed to notice that when people got pregnant, when women got pregnant, that they started to lose weight initially, and they didn't suffer from things like headaches and hunger and that kind of stuff. What he did was he combined a low-calorie diet with some hormone, the HCG, and he got good results with rapid weight loss, without the hunger pains, without people being unhealthy. And he kind of came up with some postulations about why it happens and how it happens. And right off the bat, we don't know why this works so well. Okay? So that's the disclaimer right there. We don't know why this works, it just works. We think we know why, but we haven't proven it yet. And we'll go through that. We think that the hypothalamus, which is an organ in your brain, we think that this controls everything. It controls your thyroid, it controls your adrenal glands, it controls everything hormonally in your system. What we think that this HCG does is it stimulates your body to be full, to be satiated, that you're not hungry. We also think that it takes your fat stores and it opens them up and it unlocks them. Anybody been on a diet here before, tried to lose weight? Okay. Now, those of you that have lost weight, have you lost it where you wanted to? Women, right here. Guys, our central obesity. Okay. These are things that your body, as we age, we become more apt to hold on to fat. The body normally utilizes fat for energy. But the body also convinces itself to hold on to that fat as we age, just in case that there's an emergency. What this does is this unlocks everything.
Hey Mike, can you dim the lights or something?
Can you hit the lights? Go ahead and pick. Knock on the other side. To how we hold on to fats, he postulated that there's a couple of different types of fat that we have. We have structural fat. That's fat that your body needs, and it surrounds your kidneys and your heart and all your organs, and it's a fat that maintains and buffers the structure of our organs. There's a second type, it's called a normal reserve. That's what your body's supposed to hang on to. And then there's the abnormal stuff, which is what everybody sees and feels that they want to lose, but for some reason cannot lose it. There's over 58 million people that are overweight. There are 40 million that are obese, and there are 3 million that are morbidly obese. And I'm going to tell you the difference between them all. 78% of Americans are not meeting their basic activity level, so that means we're fat and lazy. 25% of us are completely sedentary. And 76% increase in type 2 diabetes on patients that are 30 to 40 years of age since 1999. This is epidemic. I see it even in kids. The American Academy of Pediatrics has come out and said, you know what? With these overweight kids, let's go ahead and start putting them on diabetic medications. What are you, friggin' kidding me? You're putting kids on medications when the reality is that they're fat. They need to lose it then. And we all knew when we were 15, 20, we could drop weight like nothing. But as we age and after babies and all that stuff, we can't do it. 80% of type 2 diabetes, which is adult onset diabetes, 80% of that is related to obesity. 70% of the cardiovascular disease is related to obesity. And they've also noticed a higher association between breast and colon cancer in obese patients. 30% of people have their gallbladders removed because they're overweight. About 26% people that are obese have hypertension or high blood pressure based on their obesity. So what do we look at? Well, are you big boned? Are you a big frame? Are you a little frame? You don't know. This diet has a way that you can calculate whether you're large boned or small bone. And it's usually based on the size of your wrist and the size and how tall you are. So for the girls, we would monitor whether you're big boned, small frame, based on your wrist size and how tall you are. Once we come up with that, we do the same for men. Once we come up with that, we come up with body mass index. Remember back in the day we did height and weight, you know, if you were so tall you needed to be so many pounds. We've kind of given up on that because everybody's a little bit different. What we do is we take your body mass, how much mass or how much weight your body is, and it's based on how many pounds you are. Don't ask me how they come up with this, but we divide it by the inches that you are tall, and we come up with a number. These numbers are what we use in medicine, and now insurance companies and mainstream medicine is embracing these. What is morbid obesity? Are you just a little bit fat? Are you a little bit overweight? Are you really overweight? We're starting to get it when it comes to this. What your ideal body weight's supposed to be. I'm 6'7". There's never been a chart that told me what I was supposed to weigh. So after 6'4", I guess I was, free. No. What we do is we come up with this number. If it's below 18.5, you're underweight. None of us are there. If you're 18.5 to 24.9, you're considered normal weight, and that would be normal for you. 25 to 29 is overweight, and over 30 is obese. There's even one more. If your BMI is over 40%, you are morbidly obese. When we see patients that are morbidly obese, their joints hurt, their hearts hurt, everything hurts. They're killing themselves. I tell people in the office and they get very, very upset. It's what it is, okay? Your weight is what it is, and a lot of times the fixing that you need is already within yourself, whether it comes to knee pain, back pain, or anything like that. It's just to try to figure out how to go about it. What happens when we try to starve ourselves? When we're fat, we're overweight, and we say to ourselves, I want to lose weight, so what do? First thing we do is we starve ourselves. You're first going to lose your normal fat, and then you're going to lose your structural fat before you lose any of that extra fat or that abnormal fat. Your body goes into a starvation mode, and your body says, okay, we're starving, so we're going to hold on to that fat as long as we can and use it as we need it. So what we need to do is come up with a way where we eat multiple times and we don't starve ourselves. That way our body can consistently use the stored energy that we have. Most patients, by the time they starve themselves and they're dying of thirst and they're dying of hunger, they say, you know what, this isn't working for me, and then they just go back to eating. Thyroid medications, people use that as an excuse with their thyroid. It forces your body to conserve to use its normal fats and then its structural fats. Any weight loss that you get from thyroid medication is temporary. What you're doing is you're affecting the second organ, not the main organ. HCG, never found anywhere in normal human beings except when a woman is pregnant. Men don't have it in their systems. Women only have it when they are pregnant. It's the way that we identify pregnancy in women. When you do a urine test, that's what turns it from a negative to a positive, is the HCG. How much do women excrete? Because people say, wow, this is a diet that has hormones. I don't want to do hormones. Women can excrete up to 1 million units of this stuff a day. When they are pregnant, that's a lot. The amount that you get from the diet is 125 units. So there's two phases to the diet. There's a 3-week plan and a 6-week plan. At most, you're getting 5,000 units of this stuff. So 5,000 over a 6-week period versus over 1 million that a woman will excrete on a daily basis. It's really not a lot. People that want to lose around 15 pounds, and you would do that with the calculation, that would be a 3-week diet. People that want to lose more than that would be a 6-week diet. Do we ever go more than 6 weeks? We can, but it's got to be split. There has to be a rest period because over time, people will develop an immunity to the HCG. Periods. Women that are still menstruating. The way that this was initially reported in 1954, women would stop these injections the day that they started their period. It stays in their system for a couple of days, and then they would start with the injections again right after they finish their menstruation. In my personal experience and people that I've talked to, women that are menstruating kept on taking the shots and there were no adverse events. Sometimes their periods are a little bit lighter, sometimes they skip a period. So that's up to each person themselves. If you're planning on starting a diet, you want to get yourself a calendar. You want to put yourself on a plan. You want to be very specific and intentional about what you're doing. It would be best to start right after your last period. Okay, so that's something you might want to figure in. Girls. Okay, if you want to lose more than that, what's more than that? What are we telling you you're going to lose? You're going to lose about a pound a day, sometimes 2, 3. Sometimes people lose 4 pounds overnight. It's a staircase effect where you initially don't lose weight, and then you'll just drop a bunch of weight, and then you'll plateau, and it's a bunch of little plateaus. Number one thing to understand about this diet is that men will lose weight. That's how we look at this. Women will lose inches. There's a lot of secondary things that we see from this. People's skin clears up. People become less oily. People's complexions get better. People get a lot, their skin gets toned, gets firmer, more elastic. A lot of secondary things. People are blessed with more energy, higher libidos, higher sex drive, if that's possible for guys. You're healthier. Now, how do you start this diet? You fat load. What do you mean? Well, for 2 days, you're going to eat fat. You're going to eat everything that's bad for you. And what you need to do is you need to get a certain level of this in your system, because this is going to carry you into the second phase of the diet, which is where you're essentially eating 500 calories a day. Okay? You need to gorge yourself for 2 days, because the more that you do that, the less hunger you're going to have in the second phase. Does that make sense?
500 calories.
Right. So then we say 500 calories. What, are you kidding me? You're going to starve me. Yeah, you are starving yourself. But what you're doing is you're going to be taking supplements and vitamins. You're still going to be eating, okay? But your body, with these injections, is convincing you that you're full, to the extent that I missed meals and my wife missed meals. We don't suggest that, but sometimes it just happens, okay? You got to follow this as it's planned. There are a lot of people out there that are going to cheat here and there, and they're not going to have the results that they wanted, okay?